Good morning. To open the Adecco Better Work, Better Life interview series, we're pleased to welcome Chester Elton to the Adecco booth here at HR Summit. Chester is the best-selling author of the Carrot series of books and a professional speaker and a global awards and recognition leader. Today, Chester's books have been published in over 20 languages and have sold over 500,000 copies. Chester consults with many Fortune 500 companies and is regularly featured in the media. In 2006, CNN's Larry King called Chester's book, 24-Hour Carrot Manager, a must-read for modern-day managers. We'll be talking with Chester today about rewards and recognition in the workplace. Chester, it's great to have you with us. Welcome back to HR Summit and welcome back to Singapore.
Thank you very much. Actually, I have to correct you on one thing. This year we actually just topped 1 million copies sold, so that's a
1 million, fabulous.
Yeah, a big landmark for us. But no, I love Singapore. I love the chili crab. I love the thermal scans. I like all the things that come in Singapore.
Great. Now, you've just completed some groundbreaking research on how recognition impacts employee engagement. Interesting findings?
Yes. One of the really big ahas we had was what a driver appreciation is. We looked and said, look, particularly in these times, when you've had retrenchment, you've had, times when you don't get the raise, you don't get the promotion because of the economic crisis. So how do you keep people engaged? And what we found was the number one driver of engagement was this sense of development and well-being. But the number one driver of that was appreciation. Literally, the simple thank yous every day at work is the number one driver of engagement.
And has that changed much over the years, do you think?
Well, it's really interesting. I think for years, and the research we did was with Towers Parent, and over the years it's been accepted that this workplace development and sense of well-being was the number one driver, but they have never asked questions around appreciation. And even they were shocked and surprised at how important that is to creating this workplace environment where people really do excel.
Right. Now, we often perceive that world-class motivation programs are time-consuming and they're costly, but you know different, right?
Oh, exactly. Another big finding we had is that there were basically 4 building blocks of a culture of appreciation. And the base of that is what we call day-to-day recognition. The simple thank yous, a little handwritten note, coffee and donuts are on me. Those kinds of things that make it exciting to come to work every day, not just for the annual banquet, which is what people associate with being high cost and the big trips to Bali and so on. It's really that day-to-day engagement that's the biggest driver, and it's very inexpensive.
So turning that positive into a negative, what would you say are the 2 or 3 big mistakes that managers make in failing to recognize their people?
Excellent. Well, we've got a lot of managers here, so I'm sure that this will ring true for most of you. The number one failing in managers is that they think it takes a lot of time, or they say, I simply don't have time. I don't have time to say thank you, I don't have time to set this up. And what that really means is it's not important. Because if you ask somebody to do something that's important, they do it right now.
Right.
So that was a big finding. The other big aha we had, and I always enjoyed this part, is that general praise has no impact on people.
What do you mean by general praise?
Well, the manager that comes in and thinks he's the big motivator and gets some knowledge, they come and they go, great job, you rock. No, you're the greatest, you're the best. No, I love you. Which you can't do now because of the swine flu. But the idea is that specificity is very important. So I can't just say great job, I have to say great job for delivering that on time. On-time delivery is one of our core values. You went above and beyond, thank you so much. That means a lot to people. Great job. Doesn't mean anything.
Right. Now, do you think companies truly understand that talent retention, keeping your good people, you can correlate or link that to employee motivation? So it's not just about how big is your salary or how many days vacations you get a year.
Yeah, no, great question. And no, they don't. They really do think you get a little recognition every 2 weeks in your paycheck. That's the big retention piece. And of course, nobody's paying 30 or 40% more in a given industry. So the differential really is the workplace environment. But to disprove that, in a study we did, it was over 200,000 surveys of workplace environment, we found that it was very progressive. The more recognition an employee got in a given year, the more likely they were to stay. So, the numbers disprove any sort of allegorical thinking that managers have. But to your point, most managers say, look, we pay them. That's our retention tool. If we want to retain them, we pay them more. Well, you run out of money very quickly. And what we find with those managers is you can't pay people enough to work for that manager. They're that bad.
Now, talking about running out of money, we are living in times of uncertainty and change, and many of the HR professionals at this event will have unfortunately been going through downsizing or retrenchment exercises. That's unfortunate, but a lot of people don't think about the employees that are left in the workforce and maybe feeling a little bit fragile about the situation. Am I next?
Right.
What can managers do to try and bolster their spirits and keep them positive?
Well, and again, an excellent question. The idea of this survivor mentality, you know, when is the next shoe going to drop? Is it going to be me? And it's very incumbent on the line managers to be communicating more frequently. You know, it's funny, old school was no news is good news, you know. Now no news means we've been bought, merged, and we're all about to lose our jobs, you know. So this idea of being frequent, specific, and timely in your praise and your communication is very important for those that are left behind. And again, is the number one driver of trust, which is the second driver of engagement. So, you know, to back up a little bit, everybody's got a business plan. And so the companies that excel are those that execute the plan better. And engaged employees are more likely to execute your business plan. So if you've got this appreciation driving this sense of well-being, and this overwhelming communication through recognition driving trust, you've got two of the three biggest drivers of engagement. And it makes a lot of sense. So again, frequent, specificity, specific, and then do it right away and do it often.
Right, okay. Now, I saw you on MSNBC recently. Very good. Excellent appearance. You look great. But you were talking about the importance of handwritten notes. Now, we live in very high-tech times. Why is a handwritten note important in 2009?
Yeah, you know, it's my favorite thing, actually. And maybe you can just poll people. How many of you ever received a handwritten note from a colleague? Or, yeah, did you keep it? Yeah, why? And the answer always is, it's personal. They took the time. No, nobody prints out a blast email and says, hey, let's frame that and put it up on the wall. You know, that doesn't mean anything. But a handwritten note with a stamp on it that's sent to your home, you know, I find people put them in their journals, they share them with their families. It's that personal touch. And that's that part of engagement. You care about me as a person, and you cared about me enough, and by the way, I've timed it, to take about a minute and a half to write a handwritten note. Right. Great managers do it a lot and have great results.
So back to my question around how you deal with people that may be feeling a little bit fragile in the workforce, that could be one great way to let them know that they matter.
Absolutely. You know, we do a lot of training, and we start the training by giving managers 10 thank you notes. And we say it's not supposed to be a year's supply. You know, it's a starter kit. And you find that great managers are writing 2 or 3 of these a day.
Great.
And people really value them. Again, and the note just doesn't say, hey, thanks, you rock. It's something very specific that you did that was singled out and that was appreciated. And it goes a long way.
So we're talking a lot about recognition. Who inspires you or has inspired you the most in your life to date so far?
Yeah, well, you know, I think our first managers are our parents.
Right.
And I grew up in this ridiculously happy household with my mom and dad and 4 older brothers. And we won't get into that. But no, I grew up in a very appreciative family. My father was madly in love with my mother. They were married for 65 years, which is amazing. And he always told us, you know, be grateful for what you have and share that gratitude. He was an amazing man. He made people, everybody around him felt better. So he's always been my hero.
Right, fabulous.
Yeah.
Now, our time is almost up. I have one last question for you. If you had to leave us with one piece of learning or advice that could help us overcome these times of challenge and change, what would that be? Well,
you know, I think now more than ever, everybody's a bit on edge, and we need to be kind to everyone we meet. I think that these are great principles for business, and clearly we're here to talk about business, but I think people that are appreciative in their personal lives, you know, write a handwritten note to your spouse or your children or, you know, your minister or your Boy Scout leader, whatever it might be. Take the time in your communities to say thank you for people that do so much. We really need, in times that are tough like this, to gather together and support each other. And nothing is more supportive than saying how much you appreciate someone. So do it in business. It's great for your business. But do it in your personal lives, and we build stronger communities.
Great.
If I could leave one message, that would be it.
Good. Now, even though you're leaving us on the Adecco booth with one message, you'll be giving lots of messages tomorrow in your main session, which is taking place then. Chester Elton, thanks for joining us very much on the booth. It's been great, and enjoy the rest of HR Summit.
Thank you so much.
Chester.
My pleasure. Thank you.